Hello, welcome back to Brap Life. Thank you so much for listening. I know that it means so much to all of the riders that have been on here to have your guys' support and to know that their stories are making a difference for people. I get messages every single day telling me how much these stories inspire people and nominating other people for interviews. So feel free to shoot me a message and let me know if you know somebody who's got a really cool story who you want to see featured. We've got a lot of really amazing interviews coming up, and the one today is with my friend Amy. She's a rider out of North Dakota, and she's a total badass. I met her about a year ago, and she's just absolutely amazing on a bike, and I can't wait for you guys to hear her story. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. All right, so welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. It's really cool because I know I asked you like months ago if you would be on this, and you were like one of the first people that I asked. So it's really cool to finally get to do it.
Oh, I appreciate you asking me. I'm such a shy person in a way, so it was a little scary for me, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah, of course. You're awesome. I'm super excited to actually find out because I don't know your story. I know you ride. I know you ride well. You ride some gnarly stuff. So like, where did all of this begin? Well, first of all, let's state where you are and what discipline you kind of ride in and everything, and then kind of how you got into it.
Okay. So I am Amy Dahl, obviously. I have lived in North Dakota my whole life. I ride mainly like hare scrambles, enduros, but we like to get out and ride some hard enduro-y type stuff. So yeah, my family has been in the moto community for my whole life. My dad and brothers raced. My dad's raced since he was, I don't know, 16, 15. Dirt bikes have been a huge part of our life, but I was always the shy girl. And my dad really encouraged me to ride and race, and that was way too scary for me. The thought of all those people watching me was too much. So I went to motocross races my entire life, every weekend of the summer pretty much, and watched. And it was still a huge passion of mine, but I was just a spectator. And I guess what changed was I moved to my hometown to student teach after college. And all my friends had pretty much moved away. So my younger brother was a senior in high school, and he and his buddies were going to the motocross track. And I think I just gotten to that point in my life where I didn't care as much anymore, and I would go riding with them. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started. I was 24, and yeah, started riding.
What kind of bike did you start on?
A 250F Cowie. It was his old bike. He had just gotten a new one. He hadn't sold his old one yet, so that was the one. I guess I like ditch banged growing up with little farm bikes, but that was where it all really started. So
so you started more on the motocross track?
Yes, for 10 years it was strictly motocross.
Wow.
That's where my base of knowledge and skills started from. And there's this little place called the Desert in Bismarck, and that's where a lot of people go and ride because it's one of the only places you can ride. And there's this girl there, Natalie Esslinger. She's awesome. Raced a lot of hare scrambles and enduros, and she came and asked me if I wanted to go riding with her, and we went the trails, and I'll never forget it. She and a bunch of these older guys took me out on this trail, and we're like 2 miles into it. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired because it was just so different.
Yeah.
And then, we just kept meeting up out there, and that's where my moto life ended and off-roading hare scrambles started. It was like a new love for me. it was really where my passion was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool that like another girl got you into that. That's not a very typical story. So that's really awesome.
I know. And I just told her, gosh, I'm trying to think how long ago this was, but I literally just told her I had a race and I posted about it and she's like, "You're so awesome." I was like, "This is all thanks to you. Like I owe you for my greatest passion in life." But yeah, it's really cool.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So does she still ride and race?
She doesn't. She's got a street bike now and she's really into fitness now. And yeah, she's a musician, just amazing musician. So she's been following that dream of hers now. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. But
cool.
Well, cool. So you said you get into hard enduro just a little bit. I've seen some pictures. I haven't gotten a ride with you yet, which sucks, but it will happen.
Yeah.
Next month if all goes according to plan. So
yeah, we'll ride the desert.
yeah. So have you done an actual hard enduro or do you just like doing it out on the trail?
I have not. And something one of my girlfriends has been trying to talk me into for a while. And yeah, it's like, you live so far away from the mountains. We're like 8 hours from anything great. And then when we go, we just want to hammer and ride. So we go out to like northern Idaho a lot and western Montana, Utah, Arizona. And we just ride. So someday I've got to, but
yes, you do.
Yes.
I think 2025 is going to be your year.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling.
with you.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm going to be riding and racing TKO, then you're going to do one, even if it's not TKO, because I know that's a little far for you. Yeah. You do Silver Kings, I will be there. I will be watching you for that one. I don't know if I'm ready to do Silver Kings. Was pretty gnarly.
Is it?
That was a really fun one to watch, but it was a lot of up and down.
Lots of climbing.
They were like up, 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 and then they were going down, 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 down. I was like, whoa, okay. And I've never done anything like that much elevation, so it was a little intimidating for me. But it's like a year from now, so maybe.
Heck yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, there's always time.
It'll depend on what part of the country I'm in too, because like that's the big thing. So the race next month in North Dakota, I'm driving from Tennessee and I'm going to get there like late Thursday night. I'm going to have Friday to basically like rest and just like chill and whatever. The race is Saturday and then I have to be back to work by Monday. So I have to drive back like super, super quick.
Oh my goodness. And
it's a 23, 24-hour drive. Yeah.
That's dedication.
But like, I mean, we've been talking about this race. It was supposed to happen earlier in the year for those that don't know. And then I think it was a big storm, right? Came through and knocked down a bunch of trees and stuff. So we ended up pushing it back, or they ended up pushing it back. And so I wasn't originally going to race. I was just going to go to be supportive. Because for those that don't know, I run a page on Facebook for North Dakota dirt bike riders. And so I started it when I moved to North Dakota, and it's just been growing and growing and growing. And like, I really liked it out there and everything. So I figured, why not just keep going with it? Who knows if we'll end up back there. But it's really cool to just like support the community, really give them like a good space to just find out where all the events are. Because when I first moved there, I couldn't find anything.
Sure.
So it's just a quick and easy way. I'm basically just reposting off of like the Dakota Scramble series.
Sure.
But then like I'm just trying to engage people and stuff too. Just make it fun. And so it's just you know, part of the whole growing the community. It may not be hard enduro specific, which is what I like, but it's growing the dirt bike community, because at least from what I've seen in North Dakota, it's very small and very like, you know, there's a pocket up here in Minot, and then there's a pocket in Bismarck, and there's a pocket in Fargo, and it's just like, all right, but there's people in between, but you know, how do we connect all those dots? So
that's just it. The motocross community in North Dakota is awesome. They have a great series, tons of people, but outside of motocross, it has been a work in progress. I mean, there've been hair scrambles here and there, but we were down to one a year, and it was just a local, the OGs, my favorite one, Peterson Cooley. And then the Jelenics got involved and started really promoting and getting this Dakota Scramble series going, and more. It seems like it's just gotten bigger and bigger. So it's cool to have different people promoting it and getting out to different ears that wouldn't have heard. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course. I like I said, it was kind of a selfish thing in the beginning, because I just wanted to like find other people to ride with. Like, I was like, well, if I start this page, then people will join, and then I'll know who rides. So.
Absolutely. And everybody else is out there looking for people to ride with too. So
exactly. And that was the big thing. I think there is another page out there, but I don't remember what it's called, but it was harder to find. And I never found it until I think after I started talking to you. And I couldn't find any info about the races. And by the time I found that info, they had already passed. So I was like, oh, dang. But there's a lot of military around, you know, that area. So when those people come, if they ride, it's got to be something that's easy for them to find, to be able to integrate into the community, because one, that's good for the military, but it's also good for, you know, the North Dakota community as well. So it just brings in more experience and everything. And who knows, maybe somebody can figure something out and get us more trails or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because there's not a whole lot.
No, I think there's a lot of potential for it in North Dakota. I think that there's just a lot of red tape and stuff into getting more trails. It's a lot of work, because I did kind of look into it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But with it being an election year and everything, nothing's going to move forward until after the election. So I haven't done anything with it. But I have some information. So if we want to talk about that offline, we totally can.
I actually some stuff too, so I'd be curious to hear what
there you go. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that that's what it takes, though, is that, you know, like you're doing it, and then I looked into it, and it's just people want it to happen. It's just how much does it take to get that push to get improvements?
Yes.
And with North Dakota being not so populated, it's a little bit more in our favor, because, you know, there is a lot of land available. So hopefully if we could get like a group of people who are willing to help upkeep and everything, then it'll go a little bit more smoothly, but that's very optimistic.
Yes. And we have a huge side-by-side community, I feel like.
Yeah.
And there's trails here and there, some of the parks.
Yeah.
But for dirt bikes and single tracks, it's just not out there. So a few passionate people willing to do some work would be. Exactly.
So we've got a nice community that's growing now. And, you know, I'm really excited to see people at the race next month, and just kind of pull people together and like physically be there and see people. So I think that'll be really, really big for the community in general. So I'm super stoked for it. And like so many ways, like I get to see you ride, like I get to meet people from our community. Like I get to see this race, this is only the second year for this race, right?
It is. Yeah.
So yeah,
absolutely.
And did you ride the enduro last year?
I did. Yeah.
How was it?
It was okay. I guess it was fine. I can't remember what play I did. Vet B, And I wasn't at the top by any means. But I made it through. I did 2 laps. First place did 2 laps as well.
Nice.
So yeah, we made it through it. I'd say, you know, up until this point, the technical side of riding, I wasn't honing in on my skills. I was just riding.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got some really cool people in my life lately that definitely pushed me to practice more and do some drills. So we've been working on it. So I feel a little bit better going this year.
That was going to be my next question, actually, is when you started riding, you said that it was kind of with your brother and his friends. So you did some riding when you were younger. So, but have you had any kind of like formal training, or was it all just kind of like learning from the guys?
Yeah, never taken a class before. Just, just learn as I go. Yeah, I'm trying to think. When I started riding, I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was so good about teaching me skills and proper technique. But that was motocross style, right? So that's like,
a little bit different.
Knees and hold on tight. And then I hear Cody Webb talking about, no, like let it be loose. So there's things that I definitely should be relearning in a different way. But in my mind, I'm gripping with my knees, and my decals on my shrouds are worn off right at those knees. I hold so tight. But I know that's not the technique I should be using at all times. So yeah. I'm excited to learn more. Yeah.
That's cool though. It's cool that you're not like stuck in your ways, you know, that you're willing to learn. And I think it's, you know, we both got into riding a little bit later in life. And I think it's a little bit harder when you're not 12 years old and like a sponge to absorb everything. You really have to work to learn things. And like for me, at least when I started, I was like, there was some sort of connection missing between my brain and my hand to like work my clutch. I was like, wait, okay, brain, move the hand. And by then I'm already in the tree. Like
I know. And it's just that my girlfriend calls it back of the brain memory. It's like you just have to do it so many times before it's just nature.
Yeah, exactly. It's that muscle memory and everything. And doing it 1,000 times in a field will mean that your body can just do it when you're out on the trail, which is great. But you have to take the time to do that, or know that you're going to have to try and really think about it when you're on the trail.
Yes. So. Amen. This has been the summer of wheeling for me. It's like, that was my goal. Learn how to just pop up from a slow position. We're getting there.
Nice. It's nice.
I cannot believe how much time I've spent in my yard practicing wheelies and then getting on that trail, and how it actually does transfer. Like you think like, okay, is this really going to help me? And it absolutely does. We were just in Idaho, north of Coeur d'Alene, and it was just like, wow, it just hit. It's amazing how it does stick.
See, and I haven't had that experience yet where it's just like, I can't, well, with the new bike, it's harder because I'm still figuring out how to like balance and everything because it's so tall.
Yes.
But when I have done it a couple times, it was not really on purpose.
But then you get that feel of it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But I was like, the last time it happened, I was actually going up a hill, and I was just like, no, this is not the right time for this to be happening. And I hit that back brake, and I just like went slamming down. And I was just like, this is not the time. Cool, but no. It's just. But I was really proud of myself that I rode it for a minute, and I rode it up a hill, so that was pretty cool. But I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I wish that, because people were like, dude, that looks so cool. And I was like, awesome. I wish it was on purpose, but it so was not.
You just got to roll with it.
Well, I should have, but I was just like, they were like, that looks so cool. And I was like, I don't know what I did.
No, I planned that. Yeah, it was cool.
Next time I'll have to just play it off. Like I totally
Exactly.
knew what I was doing. Yeah, 100%.
Make it till you make it.
I
Yeah.
actually just found out that the person that owns this place that I'm staying has
Mhm.
5 acres of land right behind here. And so he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I'll go find a log for you this weekend so that way you have a log you can play with." And I was like, "Yes, this is
Oh my
the
gosh.
best." So,
Best
I'm
landlord ever.
right? I'm so excited. So,
That's awesome.
it's gonna be pretty awesome. So hope was because I was like freaking out because I haven't done any log stuff, and I after talking to Dylan, there's logs in the race. I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yes.
So
Yep. There's going to be logs.
I was like how big, and he just like laughed, and I was like, all right,
Sounds
cool,
about right.
cool. I was like, I'm gonna die.
No, you just get out
So
there and
for
practice. You
For
just
everyone
try.
that's listening, this is the it's called the Legend Medium Enduro in North Dakota. And so it's not quite hard enduro,
The closest
but
we
it's
can get in North Dakota.
yeah, I was like, it's definitely not gonna be just a normal enduro. So it's
Yeah.
my first baby step into this before apparently racing TKO next year, according to everybody.
Yeah. Baby steps.
That was oh, it was so funny. I just could not believe how many people were like, "You should be racing," and I was like, My bike's not here, so oh darn, I can't." But
A whole year.
yeah, exactly. And to see where I came in the last year, coming off of a 125 and learning how to ride the big bike and um, really having to figure out life all over again essentially on a bike because it was so different, not being able to touch the ground in the same way. Um, I feel like I've progressed quite a bit pretty quickly. So in the next year, I'm I'm pretty sure I can do it.
Heck
I'm
yeah. And
I'm
that
pretty sure that
mindset
I'll be
is
able to.
so important. So just
Yeah.
believing it. Absolutely. You got this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited. I'm a little nervous for the one next month just because that's so quick, but like I said, if I get this log, like my landlord said, and I can
Yep.
get some practice in, then I'll feel a little bit better about it. And
Yep.
so, either way, I'm the kind of person who, when I'm on my bike, if I'm on a trail, I will struggle bus through anything. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna make it to the next section or whatever. Like, it might take me a while, but I'm gonna do it. And
Yep.
so I'm just like, I push and I push hard. And so like, I'm
And
okay with that. I'm okay with struggling if I need to, because then it'll teach me what I need to work on. So,
yeah, absolutely. And that in hard enduro is a mindset you have to have because
yeah.
there's so many times that I think a lot of people would just be like, no, that's fine. We don't need to
Yeah.
do this. But that's what separates, I think, that style of rider,
Yep.
that mindset.
Which it seems that you have a similar mindset. So, goes to show that you should also be doing this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. We should. We should. Yeah, we'll have to.
I mean, like, so you've been riding longer than me. So
Mhm.
if I could do it, then you definitely can. And you'll like rock it. Like, you will
Oh,
do amazing.
yeah, it
So,
would be fun just to see what a course is like out there. You know, you watch
yeah,
it on
see what the
TV.
course is like. And then
Yeah,
you never know. Like, what if you get a podium, you know? Like,
cool.
I believe that's possible for you. Like,
Oh,
just
for
from what
sure.
I've seen for your riding, like, I definitely believe that's possible for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That would be cool. These girls look pretty badass out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's some amazing women. It seems like there's a lot more women who ride on the West Coast than the East Coast, at
Oh,
least in the hard enduros. But it's still like there was a lot of women who went and rode Donner in
okay.
California, and that looked really cool. I'm hoping that like we see a little bit more women next year. I've been talking to a lot of women this year at the events that I've been to, and really just kind of trying to like we are doing, you know, like there's so many women out there who ride really well and they just think, oh well, I'm not going to win, so what's the point? Or oh this or oh that. And like, you know, it's just overcoming a lot of it, I think, is our confidence. And I think we just need to have a little bit more confidence because like I said, you have that mindset. um you know, you would be perfect for this kind of racing. It's just, and I mean, if you don't want to race it at all, that's totally cool too. But I think that you could do it. And just because you do race already, like, I think it would be a really cool step for you. And that doesn't mean you just have to exclusively do hard enduro, but I just think you'd be really, really good at it. So,
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it would be fun to try. We'll maybe put in books for next year, the year after. But I think Silver Kings would be the one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be the closest for you. And like I said, that's, you've ridden kind of that area. So you kind of know what to expect already. So
Yep.
I think that would be really cool. I would totally come and root for you.
Thank you.
I'll be your camera person.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Pull me through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you are going through a race, we kind of just talked about mindset a little bit, but do you ever, and maybe you don't, but do you ever find yourself struggling? And like, just kind of like, if you do, how do you get yourself back into a good mindset during the race?
Yeah, I would say, you know, the first 2 laps are definitely my worst laps. There, you know, your adrenaline's going, and I know everybody says just to like relax and take it easy, but I just can't do that. And like, for example, this last race I did up by Minot, I raced the open B class, and there's a guy I just couldn't get around. In the trees, I was all over him. And then we got in the opens, and he was on a 450, so he just blasts the straights. And then I was getting so worked up. My adrenaline was going. It was the first 2 laps, and for a lap and a half, we were just right on each other. And I finally got around him, and that's all it took. Like from there, like when I get into lap 2, I just get into like this. I start like humming to myself, and I just get into this like relaxed mode, and it's just like fine. It's just flow. But those first 2 laps where that adrenaline's at, and you're just battling, which is great because it pushes you harder. But it definitely expends a lot of energy. But I'd say I really get into my flow in the middle, and I know that's coming, so I just push through those hard first laps, wait for that to come, knowing that it's coming. But yeah, I think lacking the strength that a lot of men have, I think my mindset has been to build endurance and to have that against them. So I really value working out during the week. And I don't do strenuous workouts. I do like 20-minute workouts, 30-minute workouts at home. Go for a walk in the morning and at night, and I eat healthy. So I think like that's the way I feel like I can compensate as a female racing against males. So
that's awesome, because one of the things that we usually talk about on here is actually fitness and nutrition. So that was perfect. Like, did you go ahead?
No, you go.
I was just gonna ask, like, do you have any kind of like routine or like diet that you eat specifically before a race?
I've really in the last 5 years kind of changed my whole life around as far as fitness and wellness. I eat a lot of whole foods, just like whole real foods, lots of vegetables, lots of meat, protein, lots of fruits. And beyond that, like my carb intake is like sourdough. I make a lot of sourdough bread, quinoa, things like that. So it's not so much, I don't know. It's just a whole lifestyle change, a different diet that I've kind of adopted. And once it becomes your norm, it's like that's what you desire and feel good. So just whole, natural, real foods. It's kind of what diet consists of.
So on race day, what does the typical breakfast look like? Or do you not eat breakfast?
I do. Yeah, that's probably where I get my most carbs is mornings. I'll do, depending on where we're at, if I can cook something, I'll try to get like eggs and bread or high quality type of bar. Pretty picky on those. Yeah, just fruits. Usually an hour before I start, or I take like an electrolyte mixed with some creatine sometimes just to get that endurance. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Try to get some simple carbohydrates in that last hour and hydrate the couple days before. So,
yeah. And that's a big thing, you know, just hydration. A lot of people think that drinking the night before and you're good for the race, but hydration actually starts like that whole week before. So if you're not drinking enough water that whole week leading up to it, you're still gonna potentially be dehydrated day of. So
amen. Absolutely. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. And then I do a lot of other crazy stuff like cold plunge, saunas, stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah. The good recovery stuff. That's awesome.
Yes. Builds discipline too. So then when I'm out there and I think I want to quit, no, you're not.
No. No. And that kind of goes back to that whole mindset. Like you've already done everything that you need to build that kind of hard enduro mindset. So that's like, it's the way I think about it now. Like it's funny because I'm training for that ultra marathon.
Yes.
And it's the same thing, but I don't think of it as like a runner's kind of like mindset. I still think of it as like a hard enduro mindset.
I love that.
Like I'm running and I'm like, I gotta push through this. Like, like if I was riding right now, I wouldn't be stopping. Like I just gotta keep going. And it's just,
I know, I play like David Goggins in my head. I'm like, who's gonna carry the ball? Oh my
no
gosh.
one's gonna come and save me. Like I just gotta do it. Like
oh my gosh, I read his book and I like literally I'll be racing and I'll think of some of his quotes. Awesome book.
He's pretty great. He's pretty awesome. I got called Angel Goggins well, a couple weeks ago because I went running and I did like 26.7 miles.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So my friend was calling me that and I was just like, oh my God, stop. She's like, you're crazy, because at mile 10 I was running on railroad tracks, but they were abandoned. So like the ties or whatever have moved, so they're not evenly spaced anymore. And so I was running, and by the way, it's really hard to run and keep your feet like evenly spaced. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's not as easy as you would think, especially when you have little legs. So anyway, I ended up twisting my ankle a little bit on mile 10, and I like had to slow down, and I was like walking for like probably half a mile and just kind of like, I could feel it. And I twist my ankle all the time because I trail run, but for some reason, this one just actually really hurt. And I was like, no, like, am I actually going to have to stop? And also I was running like to a specific point, and I was like, I don't have anyone to pick me up. I'm like literally in the middle of nowhere. So I was like, no matter what, I've got to go forward. But I was just like, okay, I can weight bear on it. Like I did a little bit of running off of the tracks, and just like, it was terrible. I got ticks because it was like through the forest. So back on the tracks. And, but I really had to push for that couple miles, through, because I was just not 100% sure. I kind of wanted to quit. It was really hot out. And I was just like, this is a good excuse, right? Like, this is a good excuse not to finish. Like, it's going to be all right. Like, I'll do it some other time. And then like as I was getting to the road where I could potentially get a ride, I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. And I ended up doing like the full thing. So
heck yeah.
it was
Mind so powerful.
Yeah. It was a heck of a challenge because I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, this is a good excuse not to. I mean, it wasn't like a real bad injury. Like if it was bad, I would have stopped, but it wasn't bad. It was just like I said, it was really hot.
Good for
It was
you.
like the humidity was like 90% and it was like 87 degrees. And it was just like, it was just that heavy on top of running. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, this sucks. Why did I pick today to do this?
Those are the best. Build resiliency and grit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So I try and, like I told my friend the other day, like I do hard things for fun. Like I do things that scare me. Like I push myself. Like that's me now. So, and it's all that, like, as I started riding, I wanted to get into hard enduro. I've been watching the world circuit for hard enduro for like 10 years. And so when I got my TTR back in the day, I was just like, I was really dumb. And I was like, all right, guys, now I'm going to get to Erzberg. Like,
and you like have no concept though of what.
No, I was like, I don't know what hard enduro is. I could barely even ride the bike in a straight line. So, but that was like my thing. I was like, this is going to be my one day, you know, like one day it's going to happen. And like, as time went on, I kind of was just like, you know, the first couple years I rode, I only got like 4 or 5 hours of seat time a year because I was in school full time and I was working full time. So I was like, well, Erzberg's looking further and further away. And then I got the Husky. And then I was like, ooh, now, but like, what am I capable of on that bike, you know? And that bike has just changed. Well, my confidence was already changing before that, but that bike has really helped my confidence a lot because even though I fall way more than I ever have, just because I can't put my foot down somewhere and I just go boop. You know, I still like, I can go way further than I've ever gone. I can go on crazier stuff. Like all of these things have improved. So even though I'm booping all the time and just like, because I put my foot on a rock or something and I slid out. I actually do that a lot less now because I've gotten to the point where when the bike just slams down on me, like when I accidentally do that, I can usually hold it up as long as my foot doesn't go sliding. So it's getting better. And that's gotten better in just the last month. So what can I do in a year? So
absolutely. It's amazing how a bigger bike, you think that it's going to be so much harder, but in a lot of aspects, I think it's easier.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of things that I think are way better and, like you said, easier with the Husky than with the TTR. The TTR was just, I mean, it wasn't made for what I was trying to put it through. And even though I could touch, it just wasn't. It was a fight, you know, it was a total fight against that bike all the time. And with the Husky, it's just like, I work in sync with the bike almost. And now that I've learned how to ride it properly and like, you know, I'm still working on it, but, I've improved a lot. And it was funny. I was just telling somebody the other day, if I can improve and get to the point that I'm at in the time that I have, literally anyone can do it because I came from a non-sports background, like a non-athletic background. I didn't grow up riding bikes or bicycles or any of that stuff. So I really came from, you know, behind the curve and
ground zero.
Doing this. So like, that's why I get so excited. And that's why I said, like, if I could do it, like you 1,000% can, because you're like already up here in level and like, you're a badass on the bike. Like I just totally see you rocking it 110%. And Like, there's so many women out there that I'm just like, you should see you ride through my eyes because you are just amazing.
Yeah, we really
just,
are our own worst critics, aren't we? It's wild.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
And it's
cool.
funny because I'm actually kind of starting to be the opposite direction where I think I'm better than I am.
That's not a bad thing.
I'm trying stuff that I really probably am not ready for, but so far I've made it through everything. It doesn't look beautiful. I'm not like floating through the rock garden or anything, but I'm
That's
trying and I'm learning and I'm pushing and like I just want everyone who doubts themselves to see that they can do it. Like they totally can do it because I did it. If I can do it, yeah, literally anyone can do it.
Super motivating. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
cool.
hard, but if that's what you want to do, then heck yes. So that's why I said, like, it would be really, really cool to see you do Silver Kings if it's something you actually want to do. If it's not something you're honestly interested in, then fine. But if you actually want to do it, I will be your biggest supporter and like push you to do it because, like, I just think it'd be so cool to watch you do that.
No. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, you do like everything else. So you've done motocross, you've done like hare scrambles, enduros, you've done hill climb, right?
Yeah, my dad's big into hill climbing, so we always do that too. Yeah.
So what is that like? Like, how is that different?
Well, we extend out our swing arms so that wheelbase is a lot longer length, so you can really just get on it. It's cool. You one at a time, start at the bottom, and you either try to go for distance as far as you can, or for time as fast as you can. Yeah, it's kind of just something a little different that's fun. And, I learned a lot from that too, because when I was riding motocross, I would always do hill climbs with my dad just because it was his thing. And I remember him telling me, when you get to the top, are you feathering the clutch? And I was like, feathering the clutch? Like, what's that? Like, I didn't even know. Like, what are you talking about? And he was trying to tell me how to feather the clutch. And I remember trying to feather the clutch and I get to the top when you lose that momentum. And I just had no concept. And now I look back and I just laugh like how little I actually knew about skill and riding and how that has transferred to the stuff we do too. But yeah, it's fun. It's pretty cool. My dad.
I think that's really cool. You just do it all.
Well, it's fun to change it up. Not always the best at everything, but it's fun to do different stuff.
Yeah.
And my dad is 65. I got to brag about him. He's 65, and we just had a hill climb this last weekend, and he was the first guy over the hill. So they build this purse up from the crowd, and everybody puts in money. And there were like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 guys that went before him. And he was the first one over the top at 65.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. He's pumped.
I bet. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I saw the hill climb stuff. I didn't get to make it to any of the events last year. But I've been watching like a bunch of the recap stuff and it looks so cool. Like I'm really hoping that next year I can maybe get to an event or two. I'm hoping to kind of be more centrally located next year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, Matt Musgrove, who runs all the hard enduro stuff, he also does moto climb. And they have one in North Dakota up in Walhalla. So and not far from there is the Peterson Cooley Hare Scramble. So 2 for 1.
Yep. I know I'm trying to figure it out. Well, because with my current job, I travel roughly 3 months in each area. Okay. So but it's dependent on where needs traveling techs. So if there's a job, say in Minnesota or South Dakota or something, then I can put in for that and hopefully be there for like the summer. And that'd be really cool. So
that's how it works. Interesting. I was wondering
yeah.
how that all works.
Yeah. It's the same thing with like travel nursing, but travel nursing, I mean, they need nurses at every hospital and clinic. So they have a little bit more areas that they can go, whereas the job that I do is very specific. So not as many places, but there's still usually like every year the same places kind of come up. People want to go on their summer vacations and stuff like that. So they'll bring in techs to kind of help with that. So I'm really hoping that I can kind of get like a little travel pattern figured out.
Yeah, right.
So I can be in all the different places.
Do some networking and find friends to ride with. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do they give you a list of optional places and you get to choose from there?
Essentially, yeah. Yeah, there's like a job board and you can pick whatever you want. So like for this time around, I knew that this contract was going to start going into winter time. So the contracts that I was looking at were only 13 weeks, but there was a couple for like 4 or 5 months. And I was like, I don't want to go to Alaska in the wintertime. Like, that's not my idea of a good time. You know, like, let's go south. Like, but yeah, I mean, but then you have a trade-off usually. Like, so now I'm in the South. I'm taking a little bit less money right now than I would have if I had gone to one of the northern states. But I also then don't have to deal with the snow and everything. So like that was my trade-off that I was willing to do just because I don't want to be cold again. Because North Dakota, whew, that was a rough few weeks last year.
Yeah. Let's get a little western up here.
It was cold. It was so cold and windy. And I was just like, what? When I came to buy the bike and they were like, yeah, probably not a good idea for you to take it home. And I was like, what? Why? And they're like, oh, the seals will bust. And I was like, what? Like, because it was like, I think it was like -67 or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, where
like, that was a couple weeks. Yeah, that couple weeks where it was just like ridiculous. And like it had been pretty mild up to that point. I was like 30 degrees. I was like, this is great. And I was like out running. And then it was like, it went from like 30 to like -40, like overnight. And it was just like, what happened?
Amazing how it can change.
Yeah, the Midwest is pretty aggressive in the wintertime. So
yeah, that is a way to describe it.
I was telling somebody here in Tennessee about that the other day, and I was talking about how cold it gets up there, and they were like, I can't even fathom those temperatures. Like, I think that when I open the freezer for too long, it's cold. Like, I was like, oh yeah, your freezer is like not anywhere near that cold.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, hard to describe it.
But I did really like it up there. I mean, I absolutely loved going out to the Badlands. That was probably my favorite place to go running. It was the best. So
yes,
I had a good time. I really want to come back, but we'll have to see how things line up.
Sure. Well, if you do, let me know. We'll do some riding.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I got to get out that way anyway, because I've got to get out to the PNW and go ride with some of those ladies because they're freaking awesome.
I know.
And, yeah, but it looks so cool out there. Have you ever ridden in Washington and Oregon?
No, it's actually on the top of my list of places to go that I haven't been riding. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not. I would imagine it's similar to northern Idaho, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know. From the videos, it looks very similar. Yeah. I don't know. Like, maybe they have more roots, I guess, in Washington. From what I've seen, at least. I didn't think that Idaho was as rooty, at least from the areas that I saw. So,
sure.
But
yeah, I know northern and southern Idaho are like two different ball games.
Yeah.
I haven't ridden in southern Idaho, just northern, but yeah.
I really need to go ride out there. all of that area needs to be ridden. I just like
Yes.
I really wanted to, by the end of 2025, hit all 50 states, or at least the 48 on the mainland, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we'll say
Out.
2026 now. But
That's okay too.
yeah, I'm really hoping though, part of that is because I'm trying to travel overseas and get some riding in overseas next year. So
Cool.
we'll see if it all shakes out, but I'm really, really hoping. So like
Where's
I
you?
potentially a couple places. Potentially Costa Rica, Spain, and then I would love, love, love to figure out Iceland. And like Micaiah and I actually talked about that. And then my friend Darcy and I talked about it. And I was just like, we should just do like this huge girls trip to Iceland because there's so many of us that want to go. Like that would be so fun.
Did Dirtastic just go on a trip to that area?
I think they're there now. Somebody is there right now. So, and I just saw the pictures of it earlier, which is why I'm like, I really got to figure that out.
Yeah, which I had never heard of riding in that area.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I just heard about it last year. My friend went out and sent me pictures while they were out riding, and I was like, that is gorgeous. Like, oh my God, it's so epic looking.
Oh,
so I was like immediate. Like I have this huge list of places that I really want to go ride that are overseas. What about you though? If you could pick, like you have an hour from now, you have to leave, all expenses paid. Where are you going to go?
Oh,
anywhere
that's
in the world.
So hard.
For riding specific.
Sure. I just think I wouldn't even know where to pick over in Europe, but like just that old history. I don't know. Man, that's a tough one. I guess I've never really thought about it overseas because I've just thought about all the riding around here. I'd have to think on that one.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Just, I mean, obviously Erzberg would be just cool to see, but yeah.
I've heard that one is just like a crazy awesome energy. And it's just like the place itself is really epic because it looks huge on all the videos. But my friend has actually been there and she was telling me about it. And she's like, the videos don't even do it justice. So she's like, I mean, we all know how a GoPro makes things look, it never looks the same, but she's like, it is absolutely ridiculous to see it in person. And she's like, you feel so tiny. And so like, and I've been around mines before, so I have like a general idea of how big it is, but then this one is apparently one of the biggest in the world. So I was just like, that's gotta be like,
oh, I bet it's surreal. I mean, it looks big on TV, so I can imagine it massive.
Yeah. Like, and then those guys go through it like, they go through it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh man. But like, I want to go and see it. Like, I want to go see like the epic races. Like Romaniacs would be awesome. I want to go see Sea to Sky. Like Hispania, like all of it. I would love to go see every single one on the World Series, like the circuit. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would fund it, but
all right. So I've got my sights set on the PNW, like Vancouver area. And then Tennessee. That's been one of my areas. I've never been.
Yes.
We got to ride in, was it North Carolina, but that was it. And it was just like a demo type thing, but never anywhere on the east side. So that's where my sights are set, a little bit closer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool too, though. Like some people don't even have their sights set that far, which is totally fine. Some people like to just stay in their area and where they know, and that's where they're comfortable. And that's totally great. You know, I don't fault anybody for where they want to ride, but I want to go everywhere. I want to see everything. And like, if I can do that on my dirt bike, then I'm going to do it on my dirt bike. Like, but that's part of the reason for the big bike, right? Because if I go overseas, I can't take my bike. I'm going to have to rent a bike.
I
So,
know.
and that bike's not going to be lowered. So that's the biggest thing for me, to learn how to ride a big bike, because even though I've made some modifications, like I've had my suspension changed just a little bit, I have a cut seat, it's still fairly stock. And so it is a little bit lower than normal, but not much. So, you know, then I can go to Jarvis Land and go rent a bike there and ride that bike and not look like an idiot.
I know. We get so accustomed to the feel of our own bike.
Yeah. Yep. And that was something that somebody told me a long time ago, is that the hallmark of a good rider is somebody who can jump on any bike and ride it. And I was just like, I don't know why that stuck in my head so bad. So the very first time that I rode a big bike, it was a 250. It was a Honda. And in like the next 2 weeks, I rode 5 other people's big bikes. And I was just like, all right, I'm that person. I was like, I'm definitely not a good rider, but I can ride like pretty much anything, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. Makes you more well.
Yeah, and I think that it was a really good experience for me, because just every clutch is different, even if it's the same type of bike. Like, you know, a KTM and a Husqvarna have a lot in common, but then they're still a little bit different. And so it was kind of cool to get that opportunity to kind of go between bikes and really figure out what it was that I wanted before I actually went and bought a bike. And then I figured out that I absolutely loved the bike that I wanted. And then I was like, yeah, but you know what? Because the bike that I rode was a Pro. And I was like, yeah, but a Pro is so expensive. And do I really need all those add-ons? And I was like, no, I'm just going to go with the I. I was like, that'll be good. That'll be awesome. Like, so I'm super excited. And then I get to full throttle and somebody tells me to go sit on the Pro. And I was like, no, I need this bike.
Funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, because my friend went with me and I was telling her, and I was like, don't let me leave without the bike that I want.
Yeah.
And then she saw me on that bike and she's like, I think that's the bike for you. And I was like, stop it. No. I was like, this bike is more expensive.
Funny how that works too, huh? Why are we just drawn to that type of stuff?
But I mean, it does have like the upgrades and stuff. Oh my God, I can't even think of what it's got right now that's different. But it was a bunch of guards and stuff. Like it had the Brembo, and then the I didn't at the time. So like there was just little things.
Nice little touches.
Yeah, exactly. Plus that color, like the gray, was just awesome. And I don't know. I loved it. So it was cool. But
it matters.
But that's not going to be the bike that I ride if I go overseas. It's going to be whatever, you know, I don't know where I'll rent from, but depends on where I go. But it's still going to be really cool to just be able to go and ride and have confidence in my ability, because I know I can ride a big bike. And going back to that confidence, that mindset, you know, it's all like, I have way too much confidence when it comes to me getting on a bike. I like, when I'm riding with my friends and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die today. Like, this is going to be ridiculous. I'm going to fall so much. I'm not going to be able to do it. And then in the back of my head though, I'm like, no, I got this. Like, I totally got this.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that. I was more that way when I raced motocross. So I think they'd be like, I'd be like, do you think I could hit that double? And they'd be like, ooh, that's pretty big. I don't know. And I'd be like, screw you. Like, I'm gonna go hit that double. And I go hit that double. And now it's like opposite. No, I don't think I should do that. Funny how that changes as you get older.
Yeah, I was out on a trail ride a few weeks back, and the guys were all doing this hill climb.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just watching because I'd never really done a hill climb like that. I've never done anything that long and steep before. So I was like, I'm not gonna freaking do this. Like, no. And
So you didn't do it?
so I did it.
Okay.
But I only did it because this guy was riding by to go back down, and he goes, "Why aren't you doing it?" And I just laughed. And I was like, I don't have those kind of skills. And he's like, just go for it. He goes, I bet you could do it. And I just laughed. I was like, I don't even think I can get down the hill to try to come up. I was like, it is so steep. And he was just like, oh, so you're scared. And then he took off. And I was like,
oh, no, I have to.
Dare you. So I went flying down the hill and turned around, and I didn't actually end up making it up that hill because I was in the wrong mapping, and so like it kept cutting out and everything, and I almost made it to the top. I was this far from the top, but the guys were like ready to move on by that point because I waited too long. So I tried like 4 times, and then they were like, all right, let's go. And I was like, okay, fine. But the next 2 hill climbs that we did, I made it up. And I made sure to change my mapping, but I made it. And I, like in that short amount of time, I was able to do it. So
I know, literally just 4 fails. Like, you just got to let yourself try and fail so you can learn.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you just have to do.
Exactly. And typically I'm not somebody who will usually like shy away from something like that. It was just completely circumstantial. But when that guy was like, oh, you're scared, I was like, something changed inside of me. And like this little demon came out and was just like, no.
That's a great thing. That's what Goggin talks about in the book. Like, those are your motivators. That's what you latch on to. Comments like that, which I think a lot of people do them intentionally to give you that motivation, which is
a great thing. And he totally did, because he was like the first person. The first time I fell off the back of my bike, he was like the first person to come down and help me pick it back up. And I was just like, he's like, good try. And I was like, I'm gonna do it again. And he's like, what? And like, I mean, I don't know how to quit. It's bad.
That's great. That's not bad. That's great.
But it's probably really good for hard enduro.
Need it.
I'm good with that suffering. But I mean, you also need to do that with ultra marathon running too. So like, when you hit mile 20 and you're like, oh my God, I still have 10 left. Like 10 miles is a long time. Like,
meow.
But it's that same kind of mindset. You just have to push. You have to keep pushing. And for me, like when I was younger, like running was my therapy. It was my solace. It was my only time that I could like get away from like all the responsibilities that I had and everything, and just have time for myself. So I really learned to like embrace the suck, essentially. And that's what I go through now. Like when I'm running and I'm tired and I don't want to do it, like I just push myself to do it anyway. And it rewires your mind when you do something like that. And it really makes you that much stronger. Like you said, it's that dedication and that discipline that comes in. Because there's days where I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to go run today and I'm supposed to do 10 miles, but I'm not really feeling it. It's really hot. Like, all right, I'll just put in 5. I'm just going to go 5. But then as soon as I get out there and like half a mile in, I'm like, I'm doing 10.
There you go.
Like, I know I'm doing it. Like, I just have to start. And once I start, I'm going to push super hard to get to my goal. So.
Yep. It's exactly how it works.
Yeah. But I didn't grow up like that way. That's just something that's happened in the last year. About a year and a half, actually. But yeah, it's been crazy to just completely change my mindset and really figure out that discipline and dedication, because I never knew it before.
Right.
I couldn't even tell you how I figured it out, but I did.
Yeah. And I don't think I would have that mindset without dirt bikes either. I think dirt bikes has brought that out in me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It brings out so much. And that's what I feel like, that's why I'm such a big advocate for women to really focus on riding. And when women are interested, I just am their biggest supporter, because it's given me so much confidence, and not just being on my bike, but the things that I've been able to do, how much I push myself, like I said, that changes the mindset. But then also all of these people that you meet at these events are so awesome. Like I have met, I've met some of the best people ever at events or through dirt biking. And it is just, it's absolutely incredible, the experiences that I've had because of dirt biking and the people that it's brought into my life. Like,
yeah,
it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
I know. And how everybody's just so willing to take the shirt off their back and hand it over to you. It just blows my mind. Your competitors are your biggest cheerleaders sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that even goes to the top levels. Like, I mean, if you watched Erzberg this year, you watched Graham Jarvis and Mario Roman help each other through a section, who does that in any other discipline? It's just, and I've seen it happen at the US hard enduro level as well, rider helping rider. And I just think it's the coolest thing. Like, it always energizes me to see it. It's just it's so awesome, because it's really they're struggling together. They're struggling through the same thing. Yes, they're competing, but it's about getting through it all together. And yeah, you still maybe want to win first place, but you want to do it fairly. You don't want the other guy to be stuck because he's got a mechanical issue or whatever the issue may be. You want it to be fair and square. So
yep, you're right.
But even just the community, the families that come and support, I mean, they cheer on everybody who's there. They're willing to give water to people that need it and stuff like that. It's just little things, and it's the most inclusive community, and it's just amazing to be a part of it. And I think that's part of why I get so excited to go to these events, because these events themselves are freaking awesome and it's so cool to watch. But then getting to see all these people that I've now gotten close with, and we see each other at these events, and it's just hey, oh my God, how's it going? We see each other once a month, or now it's going to be a couple months. And when I said bye to everybody after TKO, I was like, man, I'm not going to see you till January. That's a long time.
Yes. But that bond, it's, that shared passion creates such a bond.
Yeah.
We're all a little crazy.
Yeah, exactly. We're all the same kind of crazy. And I think that's the important part. We have that common crazy gene somewhere.
It's for real. I hate to do this to you, but my battery is dying. I might not have.
No, you're fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will close here then. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
This was really cool to be able to sit down and chat with you.
Yeah, it was fun to chat with you too.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you at the race next month. It's going to be super exciting. So we'll have to come on and do a little mini recap after the race and talk about it.
Can we do 3? Can we get Dylan in here too?
Yeah, we'll definitely. Yep, we'll do a nice little conference call style.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amy. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Angel.
Bye.